Hey, this is Dave Larson, one of the co-hosts for In the Side of the Storm, and Chris Shipley. We are coming to you live as part of our wrap-up for the Three Beards media event that we had here in the last couple of days with our Revelton road trip. Chris, good to see you again, my friend.
Good to see you, Dave. Thanks for hopping on late notice today.
Yeah, we had quite the adventure. Thought we'd give everyone a lowdown as far as how the game went and all of the activities that we participated in, both on our way down and on our way back. We certainly had a good time with our spouses and some new friends that we met along the way.
Yeah, it helps when you have good whiskey that people want to hang out with you. I think that was the key.
We did. Revelton was definitely well represented when we were there, and we actually had a chance to meet some folks in our hallway. But first, let's go back. We left on Wednesday morning at dark 30, headed down there with our spouses. We even were able to have a live episode as we had Wi-Fi or cell phone availability during that portion of the trip.
Yeah, it was a fun little trip. It didn't seem like it was 9 hours. 9 hours went pretty quick. And contrary to the wives' opinion, we did stay in a nice area hotel. It had a Mercedes-Benz dealership in the location. So we were in a good part of Memphis.
Yeah. So just to recapture or bring everyone in the loop, when my wife and I have been down there the first trip 2012, my son and I went down in 2017, and the hotel that we stayed at was maybe a little bit sketchy over in West Memphis on the Arkansas side of the river. And I went to go book that same hotel for all of us and went online and searched a little bit further and found a hotel that was closer to a Mercedes dealership. And I thought that might be a little bit of a nicer neighborhood that my spouse and Chris and your spouse would appreciate a little bit better. And I do. I think it worked out pretty well for us.
Yeah, it was. And surprisingly, there were a lot of Cyclone fans at the same location. So they had the same opinion, apparently. I definitely didn't need to stay down on Beale Street to enjoy it. That's for sure.
Yeah. A little bit of a more cost-effective way too. So we get into town, and that it's not 9 hours by the time you have a few guests or a gas break and a few potty breaks, but it was a good trip. Got down there Wednesday late, 6:30 or so.
Yeah, around 6:30. Yeah.
Unpacked and then headed where, Chris?
Had to make the trip to Silky O'Sullivan's. If you guys listened to Side of the Storm earlier in the month, Jamie Pollard was on. He gave a little nugget that was where he was going to be. And turns out he was there along with several Cyclone fans, including the famous John Walling. John Walling was there. We saw a few other Twitter members and Twitter friends and things like that. So it was quite packed for sure. So.
Yeah, and it helped that they had these significant size buckets of, we don't know what was in there, but they give you a bucket of liquor and whatever they put in there, and then like 10 straws, and they say, go at it. And we asked what was in the buckets, and they said, it's a secret. Just enjoy it. So we did.
It was quite good. This is the only photo I have. It just happens to be you and Leanne. Pulled up, but yeah, we all partaked in the in the drink of the bucket. Yeah, and the bucket, we could bring the bucket home, but somehow we forgot it. So
yeah, we're not thinking right, and we Ubered down, we Ubered back, and we played it safe on Wednesday night just to make sure that we were able to make it for the rest of the trip, and then on our way back, so we enjoyed ourselves at Silky O'Sullivan's, walked up and down a little bit of Beale Street, and then headed back home. And in the hallway, we were sharing some of our Revelton and introducing it to those that were in passing in the hallway. And I kid you not, so this hotel was packed full of Cyclone fans, and we met several different groups that evening on our very first evening. Some students that were looking for some playing cards that promised that they would return them, and they did the next morning. And we met some friends some new friends from the Minnesota, Wisconsin area and we ended up hanging out with them quite a bit the latter part of the week as well.
Yeah, we just had. I think we stopped by your door on the main floor, and then this couple walked by and saw that we were wearing Iowa State shirts, and so we said, well, we were about ready to have a little bit of whiskey. Would you like to join us? And next thing you know, we had Suzanne and Brian from Wisconsin Minnesota border. Their daughter is a senior at Iowa State. We were sampling a little bit of Revelton whiskey. We had some of the honey whiskey left that we had cracked open earlier in the morning, and then I don't know, another gentleman showed up in the hallway. Next thing, I think we might have had 10 or 11 people in this little corner of the hallway. Whiskey out of this paper cups. We finished the bottle. So, and as you can see, if you can look closely, the bottle was probably half full when we went out there, and we finished it when we were just standing there in the hallway. So,
yes, sharing is definitely caring when it comes to Revelton.
Absolutely. If
So
I see distracted, it's because the Chicago just intercepted another pass. I think they might have 5 interceptions in this game.
Oh,
So-
well, I'm happy for you, Chris. I sincerely am. The Cowboys got away with one last night, so I'm happy with that. My fantasy
Yes, they
football
did.
team is looking fantastic right now. I'm in
Yeah,
the championship game, so this is looking like it's going to be a fairly good weekend.
Well, it was a much better weekend than the Clones ended up with, but we'll get to that. So
We will. So I got up the next morning then, and bright and early, wanted to get down. One of the learnings from the last trip, when my son and I had gone down there, there was a pep rally at the AutoZone ballpark where the Cardinals, I think it's their AAA affiliate, plays. And so we got down there, plenty of time to get in line and get parking situated, and stood there for a little bit of time, and then we're let in. And again, we had the same opportunity to introduce ourselves and meet a couple folks. And I think, Chris, you took some videos of some of those interviews.
Yeah,
we were
so
there meeting and hanging out with some of the fans.
Yeah, we met some fans around. We asked them about their bowl game experiences and what their predictions were. So let's go ahead and take a look at those videos.
All right. So what's your name?
My name is Lizzie.
Lizzie. Well, welcome to AutoZone Stadium here in Memphis, Tennessee.
Thank
Is this
you.
your first bowl trip?
It is, yes.
All right. So what have you seen so far?
Not really too much, honestly. We got here late last night, so we went to Huey's and got dinner, and this is really our first thing that we've done since we got here.
All right, sounds good. So, how many have you been to any other bowl games before?
I haven't. My brother's been to one, and then my cousin down here's been to a few, but this is my first one.
Oh, so this is your Virgin Bowl trip.
Yes!
Awesome.
Can you believe it? Thank you.
This is great.
Thank
So,
you.
what are your predictions for the game?
I think we're going to win, obviously. I don't know, score-wise, but I know we're going to win.
All right, that sounds great.
Yeah.
All right, so you are?
Morgan Grant.
And Morgan, what's your role with Iowa State University?
So my title is Premium Services and Special Events Manager. So I work with the Cyclone Club, planning donor events, special events with the athletics.
And you were here at what time?
I was here at 7:30 a.m.
A little chilly this morning.
A little bit, yeah, but I got layers on, so we're good.
Okay, and you're out here doing what today? So we are at the Liberty AutoZone Park
Yes.
in preparation for the pep rally that's about to start.
Yep.
And what are some of your responsibilities?
So we did a bunch of giveaways that are right inside the entrance. So we set all of that up this morning. We figured out
some of these.
Yeah,
right?
We have roller banners, we have lapel pins, we have face tattoos, and we set all of that up today. We got the music figured out. Social media wise, I run the Cyclone Club social media, and so I've been posting pictures to Twitter, and we use this program called Tag Board where we can put things up on the video board and just go through fan photos. So that's what I've been kind of doing since people have been coming, is taking pictures of people and posting that to our Twitter, and then getting it in the loop for our video board.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so is this your first bowl trip?
This is my first bowl trip, yeah, as a staff, yeah. My dad worked with Iowa State, so I've been on family trips before, but this is my first.
So you're carrying on the tradition.
On staff. Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
All right. Any big predictions for the game tomorrow? Or are you able to predict? There's no bet, no money on the line here.
No money at all. I think our Cyclones will win. I think we'll take this one. So, yep.
All right, go Cyclones.
Go Cyclones.
All right, hey, welcome. What's your name?
My name's Christian.
All right, Christian. How many bowl games have you been to?
I've been to one other bowl game.
And which game was that?
It was the AutoZone Liberty Bowl.
Oh, so this is a return trip
Yeah, this is my
from 6
return
years
trip.
ago.
Yep.
A little bit warmer than it was then.
It was, yeah. I didn't bring a coat last time, so I was cold.
Well, good. So, with this being your second trip, you're now a veteran to the Liberty Bowl.
Yep.
Any recommendations for those that are attending?
Come to these events. Bring your coat. It's a little chilly. Go to the parade and the big pep rally later. Go to Huey's. Go to Reservoirs. Those are some good places to eat.
Okay, what's Reservoirs? For those of us who have not been
It's a
there.
barbecue.
Barbecue?
Place.
Okay.
Rendezvous.
Rendezvous.
Not Reservoir.
Okay.
Rendezvous. My bad.
We went to Reservoir. We went to the wrong one.
Yeah. Right out in the
Rendezvous.
middle of nowhere. Any predictions for the game tomorrow?
I think Iowa State's going to win. Probably 31-21, my prediction.
Okay, I'll
Yep.
take that. Sign me up. Hey, this is Dave Larson with In the Side of the Storm here with our podcast friend Chris Shipley, and you're not going to believe it. We are at the AutoZone Park waiting for the celebrations to begin. Pep rally for the Iowa State Cyclones. We're standing in line, and Chris, can you explain what happened?
Yeah, I drove hundreds and hundreds of miles to stand in line next to a fellow Lincoln graduate and friend. So, Michael Young.
Hey, Chris. Yeah, we were in line and we're talking, and I'm going, "Hey, what's your name?" You said Christian. I'm going, "I know you." And then we share our names, and here we go. We both know each other. Went to Lincoln. Know a lot of the same people.
Yeah, which is odd because I was not popular in high school, so I don't
Neither
know.
was
I was surprised that anybody even knew me. So,
Well, and neither was I. But we
well, then
knew a lot of
maybe
the same people.
we were in the same clique then.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
None of us.
yeah, right. So, but we're here. We're gonna watch. The pregame stuff, and then Cyclone victory. What's the final score going to be, Michael?
Iowa State's going to win. That's it.
That's it. He's a band parent. He's not there to watch the game. So
Let's just hope it's not 2-0 like it's an Iowa Hawkeye game.
that's right. Yeah, we got a little bit more offense than they do.
So if that tells you anything, if you're standing in line waiting for something to happen, just start talking to each other. You never know who you'll come in contact with.
That's
It could be
right.
an
Maybe
old
we need
high
another
school
snow
friend.
game so we can win like we did last time.
I don't want any snow. I came to a bowl game, no
Yeah,
snow.
right.
We're not in Boise, so
Or Kansas.
or Kansas. That's right.
So welcome to the pep rally here for the Iowa State Cyclones at AutoZone Park. Where are you from?
Iowa. I'm from Iowa City. actually.
Oh,
I
from
know.
enemy territory
Yeah.
then. All right. So is this your first bowl game that you've attended?
It is for me. I don't know about these girls.
No, it's not either one of ours, no.
Okay. What other bowl games have you been to?
I've only ever missed a couple.
Oh, you've only missed a few.
Yeah.
So it's really the number that you've attended is irrelevant. You've attended them all but a few.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
So first time in Memphis?
First time in Memphis for me. She's been.
not for me.
No.
Third time is my second.
Third time as well?
Yeah.
Okay. So any recommendations on places to go, things to do while someone is in Memphis?
I recall having a really good time at, I think it's called like Sulky O'Sullivan's.
Silkies. We were
down
there
on
last
Steel
night,
Street.
yes.
But we just got in last night, so we haven't been anywhere yet this trip. But we
Did you try the bucket?
I did last time I was here. So
She was just talking about the Peabody Hotel with the ducks too. I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't know.
but
Any predictions for the game?
Go State.
Cyclone
All the
victory.
way.
Any score predictions?
No, I think Memphis puts up a lot of points, so hopefully we can as well.
All right. Dave Larson again here at the AutoZone Liberty Park pep rally before the celebrations begin. And I love that jacket, by the way.
Thank you. That
is awesome. It is. I love it. So what's your name?
John Stensland.
All right. Where are you from, John?
Waverly, Iowa. Waverly, Iowa.
Okay. And you are?
Chase Natussel,
And
and I'm from Carroll, Iowa.
Okay. Well, that's outstanding. First bowl game?
No, we actually, funny enough, our last bowl game was together when we were 13 to the Liberty Bowl back in 2012. So,
All right.
We played Tulsa back
yep,
then.
yep.
So a little bit different circumstances
Yeah.
for you that's still around.
Yeah, exactly.
So since you're now that might be the end of the video clip there, Chris. All right. That sounds like that was perhaps the end of the video clip. Chris, thanks for putting that together. I think you're on mute, my friend. We also,
Oh, I
after
am.
we, after we
Yeah,
left
I had a
football,
little internet hiccup, and then but that was that was the last video. So we're
that's
good.
okay. So we had a great time there. The football team came out, and we were able to cheer them on. They tried to get every player on a very small stage that wasn't probably working. It made me exceptionally nervous because I could just see that thing caving in, and then all of a sudden we're on the news at night that the Iowa State team wasn't able to play because of a stage collapse. But that did not happen, fortunately,
Right.
or maybe unfortunately, depending upon how you look at it. And so then we went, we left there and had a short walk. Went Beale Street, for those of you who have not been to Memphis, is probably 3 blocks away from the AutoZone ballpark. And so then we started to head that way and found the Peabody and thought, let's take a look. Someone had just talked about the Peabody. So we went in to look at the ducks that were inside of the fountain, inside of the hotel. That was pretty neat to see. And then we found ourselves Huey's as well. One of the interviews had made reference to Huey's, and we thought, what the heck? Let's stop in to Huey's for lunch.
It wasn't bad. It was pretty good. Apparently, they have world famous burgers. I instead went with the fish and chips, just for whatever reason. But everybody else got a burger, but it looked good.
Part, but
That's right. Yeah, I avoided the world famous part. Yeah, I don't know how you judge that, but it was really neat in there. It was fun. It was the waitress was super nice, and I will say I said this before. I didn't meet a bad person in Memphis. Like the Memphis fans that we interacted with before the game were super chill. The people there on Beale Street that served us were super great, and I had a phenomenal time. And that was my first bull trip, and it was great. I loved it.
So we finished just in time. Caught the beginning. It was at the end, but it was the beginning of the parade. And again, this was your first bull trip, Chris. So, of all of these events, was there one that outside of the game, was there one that really stood out as being something you enjoyed and or anything that surprised you about the trip?
You know what? I think the one that stood out for me the most was two things. The Battle of the Bands was kind of unique and was kind of cool. I had never been in an environment like that. So to have both fan bases crowded together, cheering on their bands and both the Alumni Association people doing the cheers and things like that. That was a lot of fun. It was a huge crowd. It was packed in there. Of course, the Cyclones won that battle. The band was amazing. That one, but also the two events that we went to later, like we went to the Cyclone Fanatic Patreon event hosted by Chris Williams and Cyclone Fanatic, who, and let's be honest, those guys are top notch. And we got to spend a little extra time with Chris and Brent Bloom and spend some time with them. But finished the night in Jerry King Lawler's private basement in the bar and had some drinks down there. That was a lot of fun. We got to meet a lot of people that were listeners and that had known us. So that was super cool as well. But that just was, you just kind of felt like you were, in a little private club. That was super fun. And
I was amazed at the number of people that approached you throughout the week that, hey, I follow you on Twitter, or, hey, I'm so-and-so. I like some of the content that you put out on Twitter. So that you're right. That was pretty cool to see from my perspective.
Yeah, it's neat to see people that appreciate the work that we do. Sometimes I would joke and say, oh, well, I'm sorry that you follow me, because that's probably not very fun, because sometimes I can be a jerk. But overall, you know what? It was a positive experience. And I love to meet people that I interact with on Twitter and then put a name to a face. So that's super cool. And then to get to know people like Chris Williams and Brent Bloom and Crystal and the hard work that they do behind the scenes and kind of see the stuff that nobody else sees, the passion and the stuff that they all have to go through, and Brent and Crystal's work with the We Will Collective and the event that they had the next morning, man, that 2,500 people capacity building, and they packed that place. So Cyclone Nation is, like Brent says, we don't have a lot of oil donors. We don't have a lot of real estate barons. what we got is a lot of people that like to party, drink beer, and eat pizza, and that's okay with me. Those are my kind of people.
And what's really nice about when you go to a bowl game like this is you look over and everyone's wearing cardinal and gold, and in some cases black.
Yeah.
But it really is, it's become a family. And so when you go to these bowl games, it doesn't matter who you're standing next to. You just strike up a conversation and start talking. Hey, where are you from? And, talking about the games and the players and the importance of being there and being in attendance and the We Will collectives and the donations and the value that brings to the student athletes. And it really is a family.
Yeah, and all of us met somebody that had a connection somewhere that we didn't know. We were standing in line at that AutoZone ballpark, and Mike Young standing behind it. Now, when I was looking at him, I thought, man, he looks familiar. But when you interact with so many people on Twitter and you have all these connections from years ago, you just sometimes don't remember. And when he asked me what my name was, and he said, "Oh, I know you. I went to high school with you." I was like, "Holy shit! Yeah, now I know who you are." But even when we were at Jerry King Lawler's, when you and I were down in the basement and Stacy and Leanne were upstairs, and I had texted Stacy and I said, "Hey, we're downstairs. Come down here." She's like, "Okay, well, hold on. We're busy. We're talking to somebody that that is from Harlan, their hometown." And I was like, "What?"
A conversation themselves with people. That was amazing.
Yeah,
too.
and the person was from their hometown. So, and even on the way back yesterday, we made, I think, 3 stops, one for gas and or a bathroom break and one for lunch. And both times we ran into people that were wearing Iowa State jerseys, or shirts or whatever. So they clearly were making the stops everywhere. It was a big trek home that same day. So
we got back rather late. I say late, and here I am. It was early for some of you that are probably a little bit younger and are used to going to bed after 11 o'clock. But we got back, and I think actually I went to bed about midnight that night. It was a little bit later than normal, but got up the next morning, had a quick bite to eat, and then decided, hey, let's go visit Graceland and see what the hubbub's about. I've been there
That's
before,
right.
but for you and Stacy, you had not. So we thought, let's take a chance and see if we can get in. Tickets were booked, but we were still able to go. Did it meet your expectations?
You know what? It was different than what I thought. I think you had put it best that they maybe have Disneyized it a little bit, and it's a little bit more of some attractions and things like that, which is kind of sad. You would like to be able to be able to just go see some of the things, but I also understand it. It is a commercial world, but we were outside of the mansion to see that and to realize that it wasn't. It was neat, but it wasn't some grand thing that you build up in your head either. So, and that kind of spurred, I think yesterday, that spurred a whole deep dive into the history of Elvis and Priscilla on the way home. I think I read several articles and stuff like that to everybody in the group. And I was like, shut up, this happened, that happened. So it's kind of fun to do that. And then I think Stacy watched the Elvis movie this morning while I was down here watching football. So,
I for those of you, did not hear the conversation in the car, obviously, but we were looking it up that Priscilla met Elvis when she was 14 and he was 24. I then came home. My daughter is 14, so I quizzed the heck out of her. Hey, hypothetically speaking, if a star singer met you at the mall and asked you on a date, what would you do? Her response was, well, if he's hot and rich, I would probably go on a date with him. And I told her, that's the wrong answer, dear.
Yeah, no kidding. Some of the it was a little mind blowing for me. So
yeah. And it was raining. It was kind of I was a little concerned because I woke up and I'm part of the Randy Peterson text chain, and he had made reference that it's snowing in parts of Memphis, and I thought,
right,
that actually got me excited because I remember what Kansas State game was like. But I thought, as a fan, if it's just wet and not snow, this could be a miserable game. But forecast, it eventually dried off. We then headed over to a place called Rail Garden.
Yep,
where
Rail
the
Garden.
We Will Collective was hosting their event, pregame event with some beverages and a lot of camaraderie again with Cyclone fans, and it was packed.
Yeah.
I mean, they're really standing room only. We found a place to sit for at least for a little bit, but it was nice to get warm again and hang out with Cyclone fans. And then, lo and behold, our friends from Minnesota swung by the table, and boom, we had an instant party that began at Rail Garden.
Yeah, that was fun. They joined us for there. Of course, John Walling made another appearance running around, and a few other people. And then
we saw John everywhere.
Right. Met Dylan Shaner, former Iowa State player. Dylan Shaner was there. Met him. That dude looks like he could play right now. I mean, I had no idea how big that guy was as the tight end and runs routes. I had no idea how gigantic that guy was. It puts it into perspective, that's for sure.
Well, and you said the same thing about Rocco Beck. So the couple nights before, when we were on Beale Street, we're just walking up and down, and we saw a couple people and introduced ourselves to Jamie Pollard, who was at the Silky O'Sullivan's. And then outside, as we were walking up, saw the Becks walking around and just taking a tour. And Rocco was taller than what you had expected as well.
Yeah, he looks. Maybe it's just because the offensive linemen are big or a lot bigger or whatever. I mean, he did not look to me, watching him play, to be over 6 foot, and he clearly is 6'2", 6'3", probably. I don't know. Which then makes me wonder how gigantic J.J. Cole is, because you've seen photos before of him and J.J. Cole together. So, but yeah, that was a little surprising. And his dad was, again, I was a little surprised how tall his dad was. So,
and so Rocco ended up throwing for a record number of yards in that bowl game, not just a bowl game record, an Iowa State record, not just a freshman record, but an Iowa State all-year record of 464 yards. And maybe it was just because he shook your hand, Chris. Congratulations.
I'm sure that's what it was. I'm sure that was, yeah. It's a damn shame I didn't meet Abu Samo, too. I could have shook his name, too. Shook his hand, too. Maybe we'd have got more than 0 yards rushing. But, what do you know? Charlie Kohler just caught a touchdown pass.
Oh, this is a good day for Cyclones.
It is a good day for the Cyclones. Yeah.
So we were at Rail Garden and then decided, hey, we're going to go ahead and get a spot, get parked, and walk around the tailgates areas at the stadium. And we crammed everybody into my vehicle and got us there and got parked and met a number of Cyclone fans. Chris whipped out his bottle of Revelton whiskey liqueur, which is my favorite. And I think he had some more videos of some of the taste testing with some of the fans, and including some fans that we had met in the hotel the 2 nights before.
That's right. I just thought, you know what? Let's just walk around with this bottle and give free samples. It didn't dawn on me that maybe it might have been a little creepy. So when the girl said, "Is it sealed and you haven't opened it yet?" I had to reassure that it was safe. But otherwise,
which I give her credit. That's smart. When you're 22, 23 years old, and
that's right.
An older gentleman approaches you about, "Hey, would you like my beverage? Or would you like to take a drink?" That was smart for her to look and ask if it was sealed.
Yeah, she did a good job. Yep.
Yeah.
Impressed. So here's a couple tables of people that we found that tried some Revelton whiskey cream and liqueur, and I think it was a hit. Okay, so we run a podcast called Side the Storm. It's got Marcus Pfizer, Brent Curvey on it. Revelton Distilling Company is our sponsor. What sport did Marcus Pfizer play? Hockey. No, nice try.
Iowa State.
I'm giving out some free samples of this cream and whiskey. You want some? It's from Iowa. It's the fastest growing distillery in Iowa. Let me just interrupt. The lady there in the 49ers jersey is the lady that we met the night before. She was such a fan of it that she went and helped me entice these guys to try some whiskey. She was all about pushing the product. So you got to love that.
She fell in love with Revelton.
She did.
Day, yes,
she did. Where's that out of? Osceola.
That's where his family's from.
What was his name? Oh, yeah. Marcus Pfizer. He played with Jamal Clinton.
The whole American basketball.
No, we don't want it. Brent Curvey.
In the fucking 80s?
Go Pfizer.
In the 80s, it's Irish cream. Who hasn't got one yet?
My dad said he called the cable companies when he couldn't watch Marcus Pfizer on TV.
They also do a nice honey whiskey that we got a sample
You have one
of
yet?
last
All right, there you go. You got one?
It's just like Timmy Cow.
So, hope you guys try it. Would love for you to subscribe to the podcast.
Oh, yeah.
So, I got a QR code here if you guys want to use that.
So my wife and I made it probably. You guys from Iowa? Yep. Osceola, Iowa. This is from Osceola, Iowa. It's Revelton Distilling Company. Yep. It's a cream and liqueur whiskey. Okay. Would you like to try some? Yes, I would. All right, awesome. They're our sponsor of podcast.
I got to stop again and just acknowledge that chain is absolutely the greatest thing I bought all weekend.
You had
giant
so many
Iowa
people
State
come
chain.
up to you and say that they liked it. That
It's the
they were
greatest thing
jealous.
ever. It was so awesome.
Outside the Storm. It stars Marcus Pfizer and Brent Gervais and Dave Larson is the host. So, yeah, no, we'd love for you guys to subscribe and listen. And thank you. And check out, they have all kinds of different products and support our sponsors. With the new Big 12.
All right. So yeah, it was fun to do. It was fun. Again, I have just an absolute love for Rob and Christy down there. So to be able to send them little photos and say, hey, look, we got this whole gathering and people standing there in the hallway, I would just text them a random photo and how much they love that. And to be able to take Revelton, pretty close to their roots, because they went on a Kentucky bourbon tour down there around Kentucky and Tennessee, and that's where they fell in love with with whiskey and making it. And to be able to bring their product back around in that area was kind of an honor for me, honestly. So,
and it was fun to watch even the faces of those that were tasting it and trying it for the first time and seeing their, I wouldn't call it surprise, but definitely they enjoyed it, and it was a good experience for them as well. And so you hope that name can stick in their minds, and that they start ordering it or requesting it by name. And certainly we hope that they are able to subscribe to the Three Beards Media podcast.
Yes.
And listen in or get that constant reminder, because Revelton is definitely, like you said, Chris, one of the fastest growing in the state of Iowa, and they create great product, family owned, good people behind it. So we again thank Revelton for all of your support across the Three Beards platform.
Absolutely. Yeah. Couldn't do it without them. So.
All right. So then Chris tried to smuggle in the entire bottle, got arrested. We bailed him out. No. So we did go into the game then. And so first bowl game for you, we got in probably 45 minutes early before kickoff, just to see what it was like for you. Certainly they had just like Jack Trice, they had the nice long lines with the digital passes. And so
yeah,
finally got in and had a chance to take it all in. And what were your thoughts of the Liberty Bowl and the stadium and the atmosphere?
We were definitely outnumbered. I
don't think it was that far off. It might have been 55,
I think it was
45%. I mean,
I think it was. That they were much more, I don't know. Looking back now, listen, Iowa State didn't come in and didn't exactly blow anybody away, obviously. And, 3 quick scores kind of takes the crowd out of it.
That long one to start.
But the stadium was cool. The outdoor, the tailgating aspect and the stuff that they had outside was really cool. I was cold, but that was my own fault. I didn't pack properly. I didn't bring any gloves like a freaking moron. But I wouldn't have. If somebody would give me a chance to not go, I would go again. I had that much fun. Would have liked to have won the game. I wouldn't trade this. I wouldn't trade this coaching staff for anybody right now. They're the perfect coaching staff for Iowa State. Are they like anybody else in that they can always improve on their job and improve certain aspects of how they do things? Absolutely. It'd be silly to sit here and say that everything is super great, but for some of the fan base to be calling that, how much longer are we going to put up with this type of stuff is a little ridiculous to me.
But I really think that's a small group, and Twitter can be a cesspool of people just getting to bitch and moan about everything under the sun. It's too hot. It's too cold.
Right.
We didn't pass enough. We didn't run enough. We didn't do this. At the end of the day, we're talking about a group that we had suspensions that came down from the state that no one could really understand, and we still don't know where it came
Right.
from, but both affected both Iowa and Iowa State.
Mhm.
So we had those suspensions and the uncertainty of what players were going to play and if they were going to return, had some injuries. While I was disappointed, yes, at the same token, and we lost to stinking Ohio, who ended up being a pretty good team. Believe they won their bowl game as well. Well, I'm not, I guess I'm somewhat dissatisfied by the finish of the game. I'm content with the overall season and the direction of the team and where we're going. This was Nate Shieldhouse's first season as offensive coordinator. He had some great moments where he kept the defenses off balance in several games. And yeah, he had some probably that if you give him a moment of reflection, he would say, yeah, I probably should have done this or that. And, but that's like that in any sport, in any function, you're going to get that. But I think overall the coaching staff did a great job. And I'm really looking forward. 20 of our 22 starters return next season. I mean, that's a lot of talent. And we've got some good athletes that didn't play as much this year that are going to have their opportunity this year. And we had some injuries to deal with. And I'm really looking forward to the next season.
Well, and with this new Big 12, I don't feel like we're going to be punching outside of our weight class any longer. We're not going. Texas is a behemoth. Oklahoma is Oklahoma. There were times, obviously, that we were competitive with them and we felt like we could beat them on equal footing. But going to this new Big 12, I don't think that there's a program there that's any better than we are poised to be and can accomplish. I mean, we have the third largest stadium now in the Big 12. We consistently sell out. Our collective could be better, obviously. But you look at the culture that Matt Campbell has created, a lot of people could have left and they didn't. And that speaks volumes to Matt Campbell and his staff. I don't think I'm disclosing anything that's unknown. It's well documented that Rocco Beck was offered a significant amount of money to leave, and he passed on that to stay with Iowa State. We had 3 or 4 maybe transfers, 2 big transfers that I would say are big in the 2 running backs. And then obviously some other people that, weren't getting certain playing time or whatever, but 20 out of 24 starters are going to come back in a Big 12 that's winnable. An open slot for the playoff. So, and if somebody would have told me at the beginning of the year, you lost 6 starters across the board, you had one of the, if not the youngest team in the Big 12, and you would finish with a 6-3 record in the Big 12 and go to a bowl game, would you sign up for that right now? I'd have signed up in a hurry. So, and basketball season is on the horizon, and I think we have a lot to look forward to in that too. So,
completely agree. So that kind of puts a wrap on the game. We had our chance. Really, I think that we had some opportunities there that we probably left on the table, just didn't finish a drive or get a first down. And Memphis was a good offense. We knew that going in. We thought we'd be able to run the ball more than what we did. I mean, it was pretty pathetic, but Rocco started cooking and had a record number of yards passing, and Jaden Higgins, I think he caught 9 passes for 200 plus yards. We've got some guys in key positions that I think we're going to be fine. I'm really looking forward to next year. So left the game a little bit disappointed, but at the same time, hey, it's Memphis. We let's get some barbecue, right?
That's right. We hit Corky's across the street. I wanted to try some Memphis barbecue. And again, Cyclone fans were pretty much packed that place. I think there was 4 or 5 groups that were already in there that were Cyclone fans, and we got in there and there was 3 or 4 groups behind us. The true freshman offensive lineman Black and his family showed up there and ate, and we made a point to go over there and tell them how proud of him we were. It was just short of the game, it was a 10 out of 10 trip for me. I enjoyed everything about it. And most importantly, I guess I would say, is the chance to connect with you and Leanne. Obviously, Stacy's been friends with you guys for very long. You and I have known each other for a little bit, but it was nice to be able to spend some extended time with you guys and get to know you. That was a lot of fun too. So,
yeah, although coming back, I think we're all a little bit comatose just with all the activities that have been going on, and maybe the overindulgence. And I think we're all a little bit tired and gassed in the drive back.
So I felt I had breakfast yesterday morning, and I felt a little queasy after I ate breakfast, but it kind of passed. And I slept quite a bit in the car, which I never do. We got home, and after you guys dropped us off, within 10 minutes, I was laying on the couch. I thought I had a severe case of the flu. Ooh. I was so sick that I ended up throwing up probably 3 times last night and had a massive headache all night. I don't know. I think I got food poisoning from the maple sausage that they had at the hotel that morning. Because that's the only thing I ate that Stacy didn't eat. And I'm not kidding you, man. At about 10:30 last night, I ended up taking a COVID test this morning just to make sure I didn't have COVID, and I didn't. And I feel absolutely fine now. But I don't know what was wrong, but I had it was like somebody had like dumped an entire flu bug on top of me. It was so bad last night.
All right, so it wasn't that you were trying to ignore us, but you were just not feeling well on the way back.
I think I laid in the recliner, and at about 7:30, I told Stacey, I said, I'm going to go upstairs and lay down. And I went upstairs and threw up again and laid in bed. I think I woke up 3 times in the middle of the night. So I don't know, man. I was paying for a good trip. That's all I know.
Well, and I was trying to get caught up on Twitter. I know you had a chance to kind of check in on the drive back. One of the questions I want to pose with you is, what would you think about a bowl game in Jack Trice Stadium? And Cyclone Joel brought this up, and I thought it was a kind of an interesting concept. I don't know that they would ever do anything so far north, because although Boise, they do something, and have it be a Jack Trice Legacy Bowl game or something to that effect to sort of honor Jack Trice's name. You know, when we had Jamie Pollard on the show several weeks ago, we had asked about the opportunity to host an annual game, a throwback game, wear the uniforms and honor Jack Trice. And he felt like there were other opportunities for Iowa State and the university to recognize Jack Trice and his memory. But when that came up on Twitter, I thought, yeah, that's kind of an interesting concept, you know, a bowl game between 2 worthy teams in Jack Trice. Whether you just don't know what it's going to be. I don't know that I want to be in that bowl game every year. I sort of aspire to go someplace a little bit warmer, but any thoughts that you might have on Jack Trice Legacy Bowl game in Jack Trice Stadium?
Yeah, I think you'd have to do it right with the naming convention, right? Something that would be true to his honor. But I think you could really frame it with a lot of historical references and be able to really bring the limelight to Jack's name and to Jack's legacy, and to and relate it quite a bit to, you know, some of the rights and civil unrest that we have now, and bring some of that, maybe even make it available to some historically backed college teams and things like that too, you know. And but to your point, it's, you know, it is in a colder weather and things like that. I think I don't know how that's going to work, but with the playoff, will that go to a bowl team, or will you see some opening round games at location? On a similar thread yesterday, Steph Copley had put out something that said that her and Brooke Johnson had a discussion. If Iowa State hosted a bowl game, what Iowa food would sponsor it? You know, and there were some things out there about AE Party Dip Bowl and Casey's Taco Pizza Bowl.
I got an idea on that one. It's got to be Revelton, right? It's
got to be Revelton, right? You got to include Revelton. Somebody had tagged Steve Sukup and said, well, he could sponsor it. And I said, Steve, wouldn't you much rather host a home playoff game in Jack Trice in the middle of December and call that the Sukup Major Bowl? And but yeah, I don't know, man. the Boise game that we played in several years ago didn't look any fun, and neither did the Pinstripe Bowl either. So,
No.
which the Pinstripe Bowl showed up on my time hop today on my Facebook memories, because I have a photo of young Caitlin decked out in all her cyclone stuff on the couch watching the Pinstripe Bowl with me in 2000. I think it was 2011, maybe.
At least you're playing in a one of those stadiums that's sort of a hallowed grounds for sports fans and for athletes. Now, granted, I know that the Yankee Stadium's moved across the street and it's been rebuilt,
right?
But it's considered one of those hallowed grounds, as well as Fenway Park, where there's a bowl game, I believe, at Fenway now too.
Yeah. Yep.
All right, so that's it, Chris. I enjoyed the trip, and thanks to Revelton for helping to sponsor the Revelton road trip. We had a lot of fun, made some great memories, met some cool people, and made some friendship, and shared a lot of laughs and a few tears along the way.
Yep.
So, anything else to add to the cause?
No, not really. Just we took that break during this last week, but the pod should be up and running again this week. I would expect that you would see an episode of Ball Don't Lie this Thursday, and Hawk's Eye View will probably have a wrap-up show for the Iowa game. Old Man Strength restarts next Sunday night on the 7th with former ISU running back Mike Warren. So, and then you and Marcus and Brent will be back on that Monday, and we'll have a Big 12 basketball game under our belts to talk about, and some wrap-up of football. So, and then we just kind of get grooving again. Everybody starts a new season. Three Beards, as I put out earlier, we made really great strides in 2023, and I'm super excited for where we're going to be at the end of 2024. So,
all right. Well, Happy New Year to Chris. Happy New Year to everybody else. Be safe, and we will see you in 2024. And thank you to Revelton for the Revelton road trip.
Thanks, guys. Have a great day.